I had just arrived at the trail and was preparing my gear when our second chat occurred, hence the downward pointing camera and more casual style of conversation. This talk occurred nearly 2 weeks after our first encounter. You mind if I record it still? Are you cool?
Yeah, I saw one where you were talking to some guy in front of the Alamo basically about God. It's just
The Alamo ones are a little rough.
Yeah.
That was when I first started off.
Yeah.
Was his name Caleb? Was he just like yammering the whole time?
Yeah, it was like some guy with like red hair, red beard.
And he had a cap on and a green shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
My style has changed quite a bit since then. I urge you to watch some of the more recent stuff, like maybe on this trail even.
Yeah, I got to, you can get lost on YouTube.
You could totally get lost.
I started watching some and then I got back to what I was doing.
Yeah, I was just kind of learning this approach when I was, like if I were to run into him again, I think I would handle it a lot differently.
Well,
I mean, I still wouldn't be presenting facts and telling him what to think, but I think I'd be a little bit more focused in the conversation.
When you're talking to those people, it's I don't know, it's hard to get through to those people,
It is. Well, you know what? He actually ended up emailing me after.
Yeah.
And because for him it was all about contradictions. That if he were to see a contradiction in the Bible, and I didn't want to give him one because it wasn't obvious to me that if he were to see one, that it would affect his confidence. So if it wouldn't change your position on a belief, why would I waste all my time giving you something to do it? We had a few emails going back and forth. I really wanted to meet with him again. It's one of the most watched videos on my channel. It's probably why it showed up first if you search for my channel.
Yeah, I think...
Which is unfortunate because it's not the best one. It's not. There's so many other better ones. Watch the one with Carrie.
Carrie?
Kari.
K-A-R-I.
Just do a search for...
Is it female with glasses?
No.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of... Oh, that's Elizabeth. Faith plus evidence equals Jesus.
I think so. I started watching it and I got back to it.
Yeah, I know that you can get sucked into those things. If you do search for Kari, K-A-R-I, and Cardinal,
okay.
It happens right here in this spot. It's one of the best talks I've ever had.
Yeah,
it's just so good.
It's good stuff, man.
It's fun.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know if I told you, did I tell you that I'm a non-believer?
No, but
I kind of derived that.
I gathered that through your videos. Like, oh, okay, I get it. The guy's an atheist.
Yeah. So, I uploaded a video just yesterday.
I'm not too big on putting labels on things. Whatever.
Actually, I'm not a big on the label thing either. I like to assign a numerical value to it. And you being an economics guy, you probably can relate to this. I like to ask people where they are on a scale from 0 to 100. Where 100% is all confidence, no doubt. 0% is all doubt, no confidence. That is so much cleaner than saying, are you agnostic? Are you an atheist? Are you a warm believer? Are you a really strict? Because people say, well, I'm 90% sure my God exists, or I'm 60%, or I'm 2%. I think it's so much easier when it's framed that way than labels. Because when someone says agnostic, that means a whole bunch of things to different people.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And even atheist has a negative connotation to it.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So that's why I like the numerical value.
That's good.
But I enjoyed our talk. I remember it, and I thought it was great. Yours was interesting because when we first started off, I thought, hi, this guy's a very rational person. And then you threw me for a loop when you say that. I think you said you pray.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a good talk, interesting talk.
Yeah, and that's why I start to look at some of your talks, and I mean, this is obviously it's a real good subject, and so it's always good to talk about. So, and it's really hard. It's hard being a scientist when you have to look at data and think rationally when you're dealing with something like God,
I don't know how people can parse it out. Honestly, that's why I was surprised to meet someone like yourself, where you're very analytical, very rational, for one aspect of your life. But when it comes to this other thing,
You just throw it all out.
and I was wondering if you pray out of habit, or if you're deriving some sort of comfort from it. And it's not so much that you think that that your prayer is going to be answered, or you're actually talking to somebody, but maybe there's some therapeutic benefit to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the case, or if you've ever thought about that.
Yeah, like I said, it's kind of, it's cathartic, I guess. It's, like you're saying, it's therapeutic, it's comforting, I guess.
Yeah.
And that really got me thinking, like, like, was there ever, can I remember a time where I prayed for something, like it happened, And, yeah. But I guess I'm not taking account of it, but still, it's good. It's good discussion,
If you were to take account of all the times you prayed for the next 100 times, and you can never really derive any...
It'd probably be like 1%.
Okay.
Anything ever came out of it,
If that were the case, would you just drop the praying, or do you think you'd still keep doing it?
Yeah, because like I said, I was thinking about that. It's risk and reward, right? So it's like there's very little for me to risk.
I remember you saying, like, if it was a complicated, I have to go up to the hill and sacrifice a goat.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a lot of, if there's a cost associated with it, I'm not going to do it. But if it's so easy, it's free.
Yeah.
Almost like the cost is very low.
And that got me thinking about the economics. Like, you have guys that trade on the stock market, so they trade like penny stocks, and they're high margin. So you bet a real small amount, and if you win this big amount.
Mm-hmm.
But if you lose, well, all you lose is that small amount that you bet. You see what I'm saying? So,
yeah, I think for your conversation, I wish I had started off by asking whether or not you value truth. How important is it for you to believe things that are actually true?
that's a good question. Yeah. I guess I highly value it.
You highly value truth?
Try to, I put a high price on
You want to believe things that are true.
it. Yeah.
If you discovered that you were believing something that wasn't true, would you want to stop believing it?
Scary, right? Yes. And that's one of the things that I was brought up, I'm not going to say religious, but I was brought up reading the Bible and things like that. But as you start to go to college, you start to learn and look at like ancient history. You start to look at the history of the world, and you realize, well, the Bible is not as sacred as it is led to believe. There's many forms of what you would call God, and there's been civilizations throughout the world that God has been documented, and this story of Jesus has been told over and over and over, and you have evidence that's mounting. It's crazy.
What's even more interesting is if you were to go to any church, to any row, and ask person in row A and person in row B what God is or why they believe, you're almost invariably going to get two different responses.
Mm-hmm.
And when you make economic decisions, it doesn't usually work that way, right? Like, you gather your data, you analyze it as best you can, and whether it's you coming to a conclusion or some other economics person, if they use the same process, they should arrive at the same result.
Yeah, exactly.
But it doesn't work that way with supernatural beliefs.
Yeah, religion, yeah. It's crazy. And that was one of the things that always, troubled me when I was a kid. Like, you talk to those guys like Caleb, and this guy is just like,
He was in deep.
Yeah.
He was on autopilot, and he was in preach mode.
And he doesn't. Yeah, and he doesn't want to hear anything else.
Did you watch the whole thing?
A good no, I don't see the whole thing.
There's a young boy that comes up and joins us at
Halfway
the end.
through, I was just like, he's not going to get to this guy.
Yeah. A young kid in his group that was going out proselytizing ended up standing next to him and listening. So one of the reasons why I try to be very patient and try to help Caleb, or talk to Caleb, was because there was another young kid there. And I thought, well, if Caleb's gone, maybe I can get through to the young kid. Maybe the young kid would absorb some of the questioning and just ask. Like, there's nothing wrong with asking yourself questions. Why do I believe this? And do I have a good reason for believing it? And do I value truth?
Yep. Getting back to what I was saying, one of the things that bothers me, well, when I was growing up, is how do you know that your religion is the right one? Because there's all kinds of religions throughout the world. India brought up Muslim with that guy Caleb, and yeah, that's one of the things that troubled me when I was a kid. How do I know that my religion is the right one? And so yeah, I don't know, but it's crazy.
Yeah, I talk to all sorts of different people, varying beliefs, and many of them are 100% confident on that scale that they are believing in the right God. And when I ask them the methods they use to get there, I was raised that way. I take it on faith. I prayed and something happened. I just know in my heart that it's true. I felt the burning in my bosom, and I know that the angel Moroni spoke to Joseph Smith. It's an interesting thing about the human mind, how we come to learn things that are true, and the process of evaluating those deeply held beliefs. We have a lot of defensive mechanisms that pop up to protect us from analyzing those things.
That's what I was just thinking. I mean, I also read books like on arguing. So when you're debating someone and how to not necessarily win arguments, but get your point across and things like that. And so one of the things with that guy Caleb is like, he would not listen to anything we say, and it just, those types of people, it's just, I don't know how to get through to them, And
that's kind of a plug for my channel, because that was about 2 years ago. I think I do things a lot differently, and I've actually been able to get through to a lot of people like that using the Socratic questioning, where all I'm doing is asking questions to let you give me the answers. I'm not telling anybody what to think.
Yeah.
And when a person comes to their own conclusions, that's when they change their minds.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't present facts to people in a one-on-one talk. There's something called the backfire effect, where if I were to give you facts why you shouldn't vote for that candidate, you're going to want to vote for your candidate even more. But if I ask you questions why you think your candidate is the best, how can you be so sure? That's the way that you could possibly change your mind, if you find out that you have bad reasons for it. It might cause you to go out and find better reasons to keep the belief.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, that's a good thing.
Yeah. It's either you're gonna find evidence to reinforce your belief, or not.
Yeah.
But it's still good stuff.
That's fun.
Yeah. It's funny when people, halfway through. It's funny when people can kind of, you can see Caleb, like, it's funny when people can kind of feel like, oh shit, like I have nothing, like I have no evidence to back up what I'm saying, so I'm just gonna ditch this. Yeah, I'll see you later.
He's like, if you're not willing to talk about Jesus, then I'm out of here. I'm going to go talk to somebody else.
Yeah.
Logic kills people. Did you hear that quote? He says
from
it.
him?
He says that at some point. Because think of Hitler and evolution, and can a cat come from a fish? And it's like, he was more quoting some things from.
Exactly.
There's a guy called Ray Comfort, and I think he was just going right out of the Ray Comfort playbook.
And that's what That's what it sounded to me. Like he's just spitting out lines that he heard. There's no real thought. He's not looking at it and saying, "Okay, well, why do?"
The
Why?
comments on that video are brutal. I feel bad for him. I don't know if you skim down. It's
I
like,
saw like the first couple of comments. I was like, "Dang." Yeah.
yeah. I should probably email him and see where he's at. But yeah.
And so my question to you is, what do you get out of it? Like, aside from, doing the YouTube thing or whatever, but
My desire is to live in a world where the majority of the population believes true things.
mm-hmm.
I think our population, our world would be in much better shape if the majority of the population believed in true things. I think there will always be a Caleb. There will always be the woman who will kill herself if she doesn't think Jesus is there for her.
Mm-hmm.
Keep those beliefs, that's fine. But for people that are involved in government, economics, military, I want smart, rational, thought-provoking people that try to find out what's true and believe things that are true, and identify things that aren't true and get rid of those beliefs. I think that there are probably people in the entertainment industry and they're authors, and those folks might do like that. Might be good for humanity to have people that are imaginative and creative.
What do you see some of the problems with? Now, is it your problem with God, or is it your problem with like this authoritative being, or is it your problem with just organized religion in general? Or?
Oh, no. No, not at all. None of those things. My issue is with people who believe things that are probably not true because it motivates them to do things. Think of like an extreme
Stupid
example,
things.
like
Yeah.
the hijackers.
Mm-hmm.
If they ran into somebody like me back in 2000, maybe they would have given their beliefs a little bit more thought.
Yeah.
That's an extreme example, but beliefs inform the way people vote, what they want taught in schools to kids, which politicians they want to have in office. Like these have profound impacts on our lives, and that's where I'm coming from. I just want to leave the world a little bit of a better place for my kids.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I'm worried about not only religious fanatics, but atheists. They can be just as fanatical, And you ever listen to Joe Rogan? Podcast?
Yeah, I have.
I listen to his podcast all the time, and that's sometimes he'll talk about things like that, and it's like, yeah, if you've ever met,
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Like some of them get very rabid about like social justice and things like
Mhm.
that. You have to make that cake for that gay couple or that type of stuff. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
how it usually tends to go. But generally speaking, hi. Good, how are you?
Doing good.
Generally speaking, I think atheists, humanists are probably the safest people in our population. Mainly because, and I'm stereotyping here, is that we generally think that this is the one and only life we have and we want to make it count.
Yeah.
This is not just a temporary thing to get me through to eternal salvation.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to make this, I want to have a good life, I want to enjoy myself, I want other people to enjoy their lives and trying to leave the world in a little bit of a better spot than
Yeah.
it's at now. And I think most atheists are like that. Yeah. The other reason why I upload these videos is there are a lot of atheists that are very mean to believers.
Yeah.
They will tear them down, they'll rip them a new asshole, they'll tell them how stupid they are, and that does nothing for the atheist movement, that does nothing for the believer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that the videos that I'm uploading, and I know that they're being watched by atheists who are mimicking this approach, and they're having more productive conversations with believers and the loved ones in their life than ever before.
It isn't scary the idea of hell. Like after this life, there's be some kind of damnation or something like that.
Every once in a while, I find myself worrying about it only because I was raised Catholic. You know, so I was taught about hell and all that.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm like, man, I sure hope I'm right, because you know that would really suck. But I have to remind myself that there's no evidence for it. You know, there's no evidence that these beliefs are true, and I think it is probably just, whether it's conscious or not, I think it's just a manipulation tactic to keep people to keep believing in these things. And if that God exists and there really is that place, then he should know why I couldn't believe in him.
Yeah.
And if he punishes me for that anyways, when I'm sincerely open to changing my mind, that's not a God I want to worship.
Yeah. Yeah, I think about that too.
Yeah.
I have that same line of nationality, I guess.
I mean, if he made me who I am, and I'm a skeptical person who needs evidence before I make a decision, I need to have good reasons for my beliefs. He would know that I'd be here today talking to you, saying that I just can't believe it. And if he would want to punish me for that, then that's not a God I would want to worship. Well, I'm going to get to my interviews here. We got a nice cool morning. I really enjoyed talking to you again.
Yeah.
Do you have my card, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Yeah, please do. Carry cardinal beliefs, or there's just like the last few ones, they're pretty good, I think. Yeah.
It's good, thought-provoking stuff. Thank you.
All right, sir. Take care. Bye-bye. Dedicated to Olivia and the next generation of street epistemology practitioners like her. Find all referenced videos here.